Kundalini, an untold story by Om Swami, a Jaico publication. Om Sri Matre Namaha, dedicated to the Divine Mother in you.
Dedicated to the Divine in you.
Matre means mother.
They didn't put.
That's not mine. Pratarut Taya Sayanam Sayanat Pratarevatu Yat Kromi Jagan Matastadeva Tava Pujanam.
From the moment I wake up at dawn till dusk, and from dusk till dawn, O Mother Divine, everything I do is an act of your worship. Why this book? A lady visited me at the ashram. She was a mind therapist and a healer, whatever that means, by profession, and was well acquainted with the concept of chakras. She believed in Vastu, Feng Shui, and Tarot. These were in fact the tools of her trade, so to speak. She was a little worried that day because a famous chakra expert told her that the spin of her chakras was not right and it was affecting her work. Come again, I said. What's not right about your chakras? The spin, she replied. The spin of my chakras is not right. What are you? I chuckled. A motor car that has gone out of spin? Not sure if I was serious or joking, she smiled a bit uncomfortably. I wasn't kidding, even though I laughed quietly for a few seconds. In fact, I felt sorry for her, like I do for all those seekers who are misguided by the chakra experts. So, what else did he tell you? I asked. He asked me to wear a chakra pendant and light special incense. Right. What happens then? It'll balance my chakras. And she pulled out a pendant. It looked pretty expensive. On beautiful 4 lotus petals made from white gold, there was a solitaire in the middle, and the petals were studded with emerald, ruby, opal, and topaz. It's supposed to touch my heart, she said. It's touching your heart all right, but it's not doing much for the rest of you now, is it? All expression disappeared from her face, but her lipstick curled slightly downwards. Why is that so, Swami? I have spent so much money on this thing. Veena, I said, this is a load of rubbish. She looked downcast and angry, as if someone had handed her a crystal for the price of a diamond. But I thought chakras were real. Of course chakras are real, Veena. Then, I meant that this whole business of balancing the chakras and all that gobbledygook are simply tricks to fool people. The only way to awaken the Kundalini is by meditating over a prolonged period, that's all. So this chakra pendant won't make it faster for me? If you can make 9 ladies pregnant and deliver the baby in a month, I said, then I suppose you could quickly awaken your Kundalini too. Is it possible, Swami? She asked me, most seriously. I burst out laughing. It's amazing what all we are willing to believe, I thought. Venus is not an isolated case. I meet scores of gullible seekers all the time who want quick solutions. I'm amused when people walk into a nicely done up place where there is this amorous kind of dim lighting. A small but expensive and antique looking idol of Buddha or Shiva sits in a corner elegantly illuminated by the flame of a tea light. An oil burner is slowly diffusing scent in the air. Nice music is playing in the background, plush couches, mahogany furniture, and they ask me, oh, do you feel the energy in this place, Swami? I generally smile and let go of it. But which energy are they talking about? I haven't got the foggiest idea. Yes, you feel nice, you feel good, but it's nothing to do with chakras or energies. It's just the ambience. Personally, you'd be better off spending your time in a nice Ayurvedic spa where at least you get the value for money, where they treat you and serve you as a customer and not milk you like a poor, ignorant, mislaid cow that has accidentally stepped into someone else's farm. Chakra bracelets, pendants, incense, mats, rugs, clothes, wall hanging, chakra music, chakra programming, and other attractive paraphernalia have absolutely no connection with the real sadhana of chakras. Anyone who claims to awaken your Kundalini by touching you on your forehead or wherever is lying to you, no matter how genuine and charismatic that person might sound or appear. Then there are those people who claim to see or read your chakras. They too are taking you for a ride. Seeing anyone's chakras has nothing to do with clairvoyance. There's nothing to see or read when it comes to chakras. Your chakras are not some chapters from a book that someone could just read. People talk about opening or closing chakras as if they were a jar of cookies with a lid that you could remove at any time or put back on.
This is where you had some disagreement, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
And you too. We were talking. I said, I don't know about that. And then you were saying you thought he meant such and such in a certain way.
Yeah, so my point was like what he told makes sense to me from his point of view, because the chakras are volatile, dynamic, they keep on changing. So by the time you have read them, it has already changed. So that way there is no meaning to it, right? That moment it was like that, the next moment it is something else. So it doesn't make a...
Right.
That's what I was trying to...
That moment by moment we're changing and different, and if you look at a chakra at one moment, then the next moment it can look different, or it's not an accurate...
Yeah, exactly. Like how the thoughts keep on changing in the mind, how they arise and pass through the mind. They are not like permanently there, in the same shape or form, or there are different attributes they are talking about for the chakras, like the entities. I think that's yet to come. We can, I think, probably continue.
So do you think that the chakras change depending on our thoughts?
Thoughts also can influence thoughts, emotions, feelings, external influences, the social situations, so many things. It can be influenced by anything.
And then when you asked me what my objection was to it, I was talking about my training in like energy healing and the healed by light type of system. One of them is kind of like Reiki but different, and this system, you scan the chakras and you open each one by one, and you take it out like a book, just how he's describing. But depending on the psychic pictures you get in your mind, you can go forwards and back in time and look through a certain chakra, and depending on the psychic images that come up, like at what point that person needed healing or like needed something removed out of like a trauma situation of that chakra. And depending on like what kind of psychic image you get, you also kind of know like what kind of remedy or like surgery to do to remove that. So, and I mean, with my training, I've actually seen some of these things. So there's some validation with that, but I also totally see what you mean by moment things are changing. It's just, I guess, different techniques and what you're focusing on and what the intent is of the situation.
Absolutely. And also I wanted to bring it to attention, like, somebody doing a healing for you, or a guru, or, a spiritual teacher or a leader influencing your chakras or Kundalini, or even a Shakti path, passing on energy to the third eye or whatever. those are all like temporary things. Unless one works from within over a period of time, these changes will go back to the old pattern, because you haven't actualized them within yourself. It's like how you cannot ripen a fruit from outside. When the fruit ripens by itself, naturally it's sweeter and tastier, whereas when it is artificially done, it doesn't give the original taste of it. I think we also mentioned those points.
Something else that's coming up for me right now, a friend of mine, a meditation friend, he says that our main teacher, Drupanla, he says it's not hard to have meditational experiences and realizations. What's difficult is holding on to them, like you're saying, like holding on to whatever truth was recognized, realized. That's more difficult than actually having these different realizations, but keeping them in our present awareness is more difficult. Okay. And then he continues, the feeling of a snake-like sensation moving up your spine is not the awakening of Kundalini. If it persists, please check with a neurologist instead. You may have heard how each chakra has certain numbers of petals and different letters, various presiding deities, many attendant deities, different shapes, and so on. Let me tell you, these are unnecessary complications. Understanding the real truth of chakras is a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, when he says these are unnecessary complications, I don't think he means they are all not correct or they are untrue. He just means that those are all like somebody who has already experienced the seers, the rishis who have experienced the Kundalini. They try to depict or give a pictorial description of the experience, which is hard to do, but at least to preserve those experiences, probably, it helped. But we cannot, once you actually experience, it need not be any of these, you could explain it in a totally different way, the same experience.
Right.
Somebody who has visualized it like a snake, but you might experience it in a different way, a coil of, energy.
Or a lightning bolt.
Lightning, whatever, yeah. It all depends on how you perceive it and how you translate it into words. It's even harder to translate into words because the experience is something that is beyond words.
Yeah. Words are taking it into that like dualistic mind.
Yeah. Also we were mentioning about the different petals of the chakras in this context, right? Each in the pictorial depiction of the chakras, you will see different petals. Like the Sahasrara is 1,000-petaled lotus flower. So each petal has a particular function associated with it. So a scientific mind which experienced these chakras or energy centers have explained them out, like in a laboratory, what is the function of this area of the brain, the other part of the brain, left brain, right brain, how they function. Exactly the same way these chakras have psychological functions, like how we talk about the heart center governs the emotions, right? The navel center governs courage, the self-confidence, all those things. The Swadhisthana, the pubic region, and the sex chakra, the sacral center, is about curiosity. So all these different chakras have different psychological functions. And even within that, there are different shades, like the fear, what form of fear is it? Is it something related to the core of your being, or even more like a surface level thing, or maybe associated with a past life experience,
or something like really subtle, even.
So that is a couple of verses from the Bhagavad Gita. 15th chapter, the 3rd and 4th shlokas. Na rupam asyeha tatophalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha ashwatham yenam suviruddha moolam asanga shastrena tridhena chitva tada padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartamdi bhuyaha tam eva chadyam purusham prapadye yata pravrittihi prasrita purani.
Krishna says to Arjuna, upon attainment, one finds that the truth is not what it had been made out to be. The real form of the tree of life is imperceptible. It has neither beginning nor end. The one who cuts it from the roots with great detachment reaches an irreversible state of tranquility. He reaches a shore from where there is no return. He returns to his source.
Yeah, here the Bhagavad Gita is talking about, Krishna is talking about a banyan tree which is upside down, the roots grown into the space and the branches beneath.
That sounds like we don't know if we're coming or going. This is also the truth of the Kundalini, the reality of the chakras. Whatever you may have seen, heard, or read about it so far is not the truth, at least not the complete truth. The day you actually experience the piercing of the chakras or awakening of the Kundalini, you will reach an irreversible state of bliss, a point of no return.
Yeah, so here we were also discussing about the partial truth and the absolute truth. Like the famous example of 5 blind people trying to understand
That's right. Yeah.
the elephant.
Yeah.
One person touches and says the elephant is like a broomstick. Another blind guy touches the elephant and he says no, it is like a pillar. Third person says it's like a sword touching the tusk. Like that. But those are all partial truths. Those are all part of elephant, different parts of elephant, but that's not how the actual elephant is. So same way we all, when we experience and look at the universe, we understand it partially with our limitations, with our blindness of ignorance.
We're not seeing the whole truth.
Okay.
But maybe some glimmers of it at different instances.
So the day you actually experiencing the piercing of the chakras or awakening of the Kundalini, you will reach an irreversible state of bliss. I wanted to underline this word irreversible, because once that is experienced within, that means basically you have transcended the field of mind and matter, and from that state of consciousness or enlightenment, once you even have a small glimpse of it, it's an irreversible state of bliss. Then nothing matters, the mind cannot be miserable.
Yeah,
it's a point of no return.
Yeah, no going back from that truth once you've seen it.
Right.
That illumination, you can't cover it back up.
I think we pretty much covered whatever most of the points we discussed so far. We'll continue to read this chapter. Milk once churned into butter cannot transform back to being milk again. Similarly, once you discover your true nature, no matter what happens, your old tendencies, your negative emotions leave you completely. This is something about the karma also. This is how the karmas is dispelled.
The clarified and
Once that transformation happens within you. Krishna says, Bhasmasat Kurite Arjuna. The entire karma, the entire past, karma is basically past. It's your mind itself, you are carrying all these accumulated experiences, right? So Krishna says, those all will turn into ashes. It's all burned in this light of awareness. A selfless concern for the welfare of all sentient beings arises in you naturally. You grow out of your own shoes. It's not that you won't feel the pain if someone were to hit you. Of course, you will feel the pain, but unlike your older self, the transformed you won't get angry at the one who is hurting you. So basically, the identification about yourself from the small selfish ego, it grows into a selfless macrocosm. You identify yourself with the entire existence, every being, every species, every soul that you come across, you are one with it. So that is the state here.
So you don't want to be hurting yourself by hurting others.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then like Tibetan Buddhists, they're doing a lot of mind training of like putting all beings first, like training your mind to expand through bodhicitta, through holding others higher than yourself. But it sounds like in this instant of realization, you're naturally opening to that care and concern for others, like without so much repetition of training.
So there are two types of approach to this same point. One is when the awakening happens within, how your state of mind is. That's what is being described here. Another one is, you train yourself, you follow the Panchashila, the 5 precepts and things like that, be tolerant to, all these, when you practice, you are in accordance with the universal law of nature, which is the Dharma. So that makes your life smoother and easier, but still you have not actualized that within oneself. Until then, these trainings will make your life smoother, but to actually to be in that state, that experience has to happen within oneself. Awakening of the Kundalini is reaching your innermost state of bliss and joy. The state is covered with 10 layers: desire, anger, greed, attachment, ego, passion, jealousy, hatred, fear, and self-concern. As you elevate spiritually, you start shedding these layers. These avaranas, the layers, veil the true you. The real you that is beyond the duality of pain and grief, good and bad, moral and immoral. Awakening is a steady and gradual process on the path of Kundalini sadhana. It is not an instant realization. It builds up, it grows on you. With each level of awakening, you discover a bit more about the new you and you shed a bit more of the old you. The science of Kundalini is an ancient Vidya that has been passed through an oral tradition in strict disciplic succession to worthy recipients. The science remains just as intact today. All it requires is for one to walk the path with great determination and tenacity. Let me take you to the source, for what is found in the roots can never be understood from the leaves. Let the boughs not baffle you. Let the fruits not distract you. You just have to nurture the roots and the whole tree will belong to you. That is the first chapter. Next we will continue in our next session the origin of Kundalini meditation, Kundalini the beginning.